I'm Eric, this is Rachel. We are the Huestos de Taquiendo de Famiose de Piplioples, which is pretty important stuff. As important as it gets. Rachel and I made a big effort and went to town today. I got a shop vac at the hardware store, and then we went to the supermarket where we purchased a variety of food and drink stuff that we needed to sustain ourselves as biological creatures. The title of this stream is The Role of Experience in Intuition. So, as the notion I just had a second ago, I was going back through these old comments and seeing many of the same patterns repeat, Like some of them I'll read, some of them I just kind of skim, some of them I just without even looking at it hardly, but the same kind of objections repeating, the same kind of non-real attacks, the same kind of people talking out of their ass. Like one individual said about my typing session, you jump to conclusions too quickly. Well, I mean, the ridiculous thing about that is everybody else is using their intuition to jump to conclusions quickly. I'm taking my time to try to figure it out with deliberation. But, you have an hour. It's like there's a time limit on it. I typically don't state any conclusions till the very end or near the very end. And yet this person just said, you jump to conclusions too quickly. I mean, maybe sometimes, but I'm not married to those conclusions that I jump to. Anyway, the point is, what I was noting there as I was going through and hearting all these comments is, experience allows my intuition to be better. If I understand in full what an example wrongness is an example of, why it's wrong, how it represents this long-standing pattern of bad ideas being put in comments of a certain kind or another, then I'm much less impacted by it, I guess. Hi, Kiera.
Hi, Kira.
Or is it Kyra? Could be that.
It could be.
So it feels like a little bit of a wake up and deal with shit kind of a day. Took some trash out, swept up a little bit of cigarette butts up front, and got all the groceries that we needed to get. Repackaged the weed so it's easier to store, so it's not in one big bag, which doesn't hardly fit in the freezer, And talked to Rachel's mom. But the other thing I wanted to link SI and NI to, and the difference between NI Dom, NI Fifth versus NI Pole. So Rachel's parents want to pay for our honeymoon, which is very nice. And it's going to be a short honeymoon, just a couple of nights, right? And so we had this vision of maybe we'll go to the Awani Hotel at Yosemite, classic old mountain lodge kind of hotel from a long time ago. Jewel of the Park Systems hotels, We'll go there night before Christmas and Christmas night, and we'll be there for all the wonderful Christmas decorations and everything. It'll be gorgeous. It'll be perfect. But, so then we talked to her mom, and she informs us that she can't get 2 rooms back-to-back nights there. We have to change rooms in between. then there'd be a gap that we have to check out at 11 and check in at 4 or something like that. And the second night, we wouldn't be able to stay in the main lodge area. We'd stay in an off building, a cottage. Well, that's not really what we envisioned, right? Like, I have this thematic vision of us going to do this perfectly Christmassy themed thing that goes the way I want it to go. Rachel's mom suggested a variety of different compromise things that are sort of equivalent. Like she suggested we stay in this other hotel that's very close to the Awani Hotel. Except we don't want to stay in some, regular motel that's near the Awani Hotel. It's ridiculous. It doesn't it doesn't withstand any NI scrutiny, right? It's not a holistic vision of anything, and it's just it's mistaking what we do want, which is a singular vision realized, for something else. Like, well, they must want to go to Yosemite. We don't necessarily want to go to Yosemite. We like that idea, right? Because it had this nice, complete thematic package to it. But her mom, NI-polar, thinks there's always some sort of equivalency, compromise kind of a thing you can do that gets you most of what you want, and that's fine, because she's a TE dom. That's not for us at all. So what we decided to try instead of Christmas at the Awani, we're going to nix that notion entirely, and we're going to try for Valentine's Day at the Madonna Inn. We'll try to get a hearts and love themed kind of room, and we'll have dinner at the Pink Steakhouse, which, just as the Awani Hotel seems like the perfect place for Christmas decorations, the whole Christmas experience in Yosemite with the snow and the winter and all that stuff. Same with Valentine's Day and the Pink Steakhouse at Madonna Inn. They went all out for their Christmas decorations, which is when we were there last year. Think about how perfect that steakhouse is for Valentine's Day. And then let's say she were to try to make those reservations, but Rachel's mom and learn that that she can only get a nautical themed room for 2 nights back to back. Well, then we might have to rethink it again, because I want the whole picture, right? I don't want our honeymoon, it's only going to be 2 nights away anyway, to be something other than the realization of a clear vision. I don't want a Swiss Army knife honeymoon where, well, we couldn't go to the Madonna Inn, but we found a Motel 6 near the Madonna Inn, and we did get reservations for that steakhouse, but it's not till 11 p.m. No. I don't want that compromise. You know what I have to say to compromise? Compromise, schmompromise.
That's smart.
So, clearly, experience is somewhat runs afoul of intuition. What I want, I think Rachel's on the same page with me here, is something that intuitively resonates as complete. Nice shoes.
Thanks.
That intuitively resonates as complete is what we want. It's a realized vision. What we're not doing is anticipating what the experience is going to be like very much. So Rachel's mom's like, well, there's plenty of things you could do in those hours between when you check out the first time and check in again on the second night, except we have no idea what we're going to want to do during that time period. We might just want to lie in the hotel room. We don't know whether we're going to be sleeping or awake. We don't know whether we're going to be hungry or not. We just can't function like that, because we're not trying to anticipate an experience when we're coming up with a decision to do this. We're trying to realize some kind of a vision, and we'll find out what the experience is. So that's one role of experience and intuition. But for somebody like me who's NI ignoring, NE, and an SI user, encountering the same kinds of things over and over again makes me trust my intuition more about that kind of thing. So, it's like there was a time when I worried that people trying to take over the channel, harm the channel, or whatever, might be able to do some damage and or win in some way. I don't worry about it anymore because I've seen it happen too many times. Somebody come in and think that they're gonna hijack the channel, what goes on here, the audience. They're gonna try to steal everybody who's an audience member here and take them to their own Discord server or something. It's happened a million times before. At first, I might have been sort of worried about it, but having lots of experience being a YouTuber and just continually just pushing on through and keep doing my thing, I intuit much more clearly and correctly that this trash can fire is not going to, just like none of the other trash can fires, is not going to turn into the Great Fire of 1854 or whatever.
That's funny when I return with the treasure.
Well, I mean, the thing is, it's not a matter of optimality so much as it is a matter of, I think Rachel and I understand what we want as a binary. Like, we want it, we want this vision we have here, or if we can't get that, then we'll go back to the drawing board. The thing that we might want does not represent a composite of different elements that we want. Like going to Awani Hotel for Christmas did not represent a desire for us to go to Yosemite, plus a desire for us to see that part of Yosemite at Christmas, plus a desire to see the Awani Hotel, plus some area. It didn't represent all those things. So like, oh well, you can get most of what you want. That's not how we envision things at all. It's like I don't know what it's gonna be like there. I just like the idea, the concept of being there Christmas Eve and Christmas night at the Iwani with all the gorgeous like old winter lodge kind of shit going on.
The
So
big tree in the lobby,
yeah,
the decorations that they have, plus like the air of Christmas in the mountains, like that's what we want.
right. And
But
sitting
I
at
don't.
the hotel bar with like a hot cup of coffee or something.
That sounds nice.
Yeah, but not if we can't get it how we want it exactly.
Yeah,
Where we
yeah.
get 2 nights back to back in the same room, etc. Um, so how else does experience inform intuition? Obviously, people who are NI users, it's not like they don't have a past to reference. It's not like they can't remember basic things or be informed at all by their experience. And it's not like their intuition happens in a complete vacuum. It happens against an unconscious background of the things they've experienced before that inform them about the world, but it doesn't feel like that to them. So much so it doesn't feel like that to them that they for things that they know with their objective knowing function that are actually subjective experiences, they will assume 100% of the time that you must have those experiences too. Like Corey's weird thing about me not attaining a DMT breakthrough ever because I don't report upon it in his magical thinking ways. Well, the point is, he's knowing it, his experience, as with his objective knowing function, his intuition, and because it's an objective knowing function, he's presuming that that experience must generalize. Otherwise, it would be a personal experience, right? Of course, it is a personal experience for him, but he is so unconscious in his SI that he presumes his personal experience must be an example of objectively knowing something and therefore generalized. Yeah. So, what's going on with everybody? Anything exciting you want to discuss? Any trending topics hitting the news that tickle your fancy?
Yeah.
Have you heard about Britney Spears getting divorced from that douchebag? Well, they're getting divorced. Hakeem Olajuwon is going to the moon? Good for him.
Yeah, good for him.
That blindside guy is suing his family.
Oh my god.
And from everything I've read, it sounds like it's completely nonsense. Like, he's, well, Ruben, you may have intended to lie, but I've got a secret for you. I was just checking the insider papers that relate to Elon Musk's spaceship vacation thing, and it turns out Hakeem Olajuwon is the next tourist into outer space now that William Shatner is done. So you were actually telling the truth, even though you were intending to deceive. After Hakeem Olajuwon goes to the moon, they're gonna leave him there for a couple of months, see what he can do while he's there. See if he can make anything interesting. They're also casting right now Naked and Afraid of the Moon.
Wow, that's like really jumping.
Yeah. The thing is, they do give him a hide because it's so cold on the moon.
Oh my god! Okay.
But they have to make their own oxygen out of things they find on the moon. So it's pretty tough. They got to basically find electrical current, water, and run the current through the water so that it separates into the hydrogen and oxygen atoms, and then quickly breathe the oxygen atoms. It's really tough. It's even tougher than Last One Standing. Naked and Afraid Moon.
Naked and Afraid Moon. Yeah.
The dangerous thing about camping on the moon is that moon Sasquatches are not nearly as peaceful as Earth Sasquatches. Earth Sasquatches will scare you away by making sounds in the forest nearby, proving themselves to be Sasquatches, but not allowing you to see them. They might, for example, break a stick, or a tree might shake or something like that, and they'll scare you away. But moon Sasquatches, they just come right up and rip your head off of your body immediately. They're about 10 times as strong as Earth Sasquatches because they have to be extra strong because the gravity on the moon is so weak. They have to compensate for it. Would I decentralize the control over the central bank? You mean the Federal Reserve? It's not really a central bank per se, but that's one of those things where I need to look into it more to decide what to do about that. Because I have yet to hear anybody give me a good explanation as to why quantitative easing isn't accomplished by simply taking the total amount of currency you're going to infuse into the economy divided by the total number of adult citizens and send each of them a check for that amount, whatever it is. Why isn't new currency I guess they'd have to send cash. But the point is, why is it new currency infused into the economy the way it is? I've not heard anybody give me a good explanation yet. I've asked the question many times. I can't find a very good explanation as to why it is the way it is and not some other way.
What?
The current approach to quantitative easing done by the Federal Reserve.
Oh, interesting.
And the thing is, I want to ask people who are strong proponents of the current system, what its advantages are, what would be the harms if we were to change the approach. Are there structural things that require this kind of interface that I'm not aware of? I've looked into it a fair amount, and I've just never been really anything but confused as to why exactly we do it the way we do it, what other options might be available, and what would be the impacts if we were to do those things. I mean, I've read all those explanations Jeremiah Fix, but I mean, all wealth is fundamentally built on beholdens or debt in the sense that when you do meaningful work for another party, then you can reciprocity among people means they're gonna need to return the favor in some way or provide you compensation in a fungible wealth kind of format like money, you know. Just because new wealth is generated by the incurrence of debt that's attained when one does meaningful work for another person doesn't mean it's debt and not wealth, right? That's where the quantitative easing comes in. You add new currency to represent all the new wealth that's generated by that meaningful work done. And the debt is not a debt carried over by anybody because the person who had that work done pays the person to do that work. And money that they have, which is excess wealth over in other words, the amount they need to rely upon others the amount that others rely upon them minus the amount that they rely upon others is during a period of time is going to be their net positive cash flow or net negative cash flow. So the thing is, it's possible, in other words, this is why it doesn't all boil down to debt, is because it's possible to conceive of a world where almost everybody is being more useful than they are requiring assistance, and therefore generating more wealth than they're having to spend, right? And for most parties who are not in that boat, we imagine the majority of those are dependents. In other words, that some party is being sufficiently more useful than they are needing to use, that they can support not just themselves, but like a wife and a couple of kids or something, right? So it's reductive, wrong, and misleading to say that wealth is debt, though wealth is created. Every time wealth is created, debt is at least momentarily incurred. So don't be confused about how that shit works, yeah.
It's really nice.
Thanks. Where is the notion suggested that politicians want to reduce the amount owed by the method of inflation? Well, no, inflation only occurs if you infuse more currency into the economy than new wealth is being created. So as long as people are working normally, the Treasury needs to put more currency into the economy, or you'll have deflation because more wealth is being generated, but it's represented by less currency, right? The only time you have inflation is when you continue to infuse currency into the economy, even though the equivalent amount of meaningful work's not being done, aka COVID, right? Which cost accordingly 10 to 15% of the world's wealth, because everybody still had, people had to survive for that time period, and that ate up 10 to 15% of the wealth because they were no longer generating new wealth by doing meaningful work. So, since monetary policy concerning quantitative easing didn't change, obviously increasing the amount of currency in the economy without a corresponding increase in wealth, that creates inflation. And that's how it ends up playing out, is everybody losing 10 to 15%, is you get this massive delayed global inflation due to misguided COVID policies that were implemented because people didn't listen to Eric enough. But you know, people like being wrong. They love it. I think what's disheartening is there's never any post-mortem, you know? Like, you lose a debate tournament, you go back to class, and you figure out why you lost. You go over it. You might have another debate on that topic. And, you didn't go over, okay, what did you lose on this round, Johnny? Well, we said meow, and they said meow. So what did you say in response? We cross-applied our fourth argument. Well, how? Why? It didn't even link at all. No, you needed to read meow. That's why you lost. Well, that doesn't happen in the real world, right? Like, there's been no post-mortem saying, okay, this is what we did wrong with COVID. This is why those horrible policies were implemented, despite the fact that they produced massive net harms, saved no lives demonstrably. Like, you can't establish clearly they saved any lives because you couldn't keep people locked down forever, and eventually people got COVID, you know? And a bunch of other things, and a bunch of arguments against utilitarian, alarmist, we have to do something for the children kind of bullshit. There needs to be a post-mortem that said, for people who were all pro COVID lockdown, acknowledge that it was a terrible idea.
Yeah.
I just explained what inflation was. Jeremiah, Chris. Your much worse definition of inflation is not preferable at all. Those chips have the flavor of deliciousness baked right inside of them.
I do.
So, we'll have to see if we can even get what we want for Valentine's Day. It's not that far away. People make reservations of Madonna Inn for things like that long in advance.
So, like, I'm thinking by tomorrow we have to let my mom know the plan.
The flavor of deliciousness is one of the most delicious flavors. The flavorscape of delicitude can provide a man and his taste buds. A man, his taste buds, his uvula, and thou. Et le frère, le battre de wine, and you. It's a French saying. It's supposed to be very romantic. That's pretty romantic, I guess.
Yeah.
It is pretty romantic saying. Like, it's all I need. Food, liquor, and sex.
Those are the basic.
But I don't need any booze at all because even though I'm sure it would be pleasant or whatever, it would also ruin my whole life. So,
Oh yeah.
so never mind, I guess.
Never mind. So, what about like kombucha?
Oh, I gotta be careful. You know, the key thing is I don't purposely drink alcoholic drinks. Recently, I got these kombuchas not that long ago, a couple weeks ago, at a restaurant.
No.
They certainly tasted alcoholic.
Yeah, we
but
both saw it.
But the menu was very clear, non-alcoholic and bold, you know. So
Yeah.
I ended up drinking about half of that and then not finishing it because I became. And like that's an intuitive conundrum, right? Do I trust my taste or do I trust what the words say on the menu? I was inclined to trust what the words say on the menu because they're permanent, right? Like they couldn't possibly be serving me an alcoholic beverage when the menu so clearly says non-alcoholic. It must just taste that way or something. But I think it had some alcohol in it because it's like I don't consider that failing to. I don't consider that falling off the wagon or something because I wasn't purposely drinking alcohol.
No, I think we should just stick to the
Guava
synergy
goddess?
guava goddess. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the best one anyway.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, look, the other thing is those kombuchas we drank there were gross.
Yeah, see, that's the thing about kombucha. It's like you have to have the right. I don't know. At least for me, I like the sweeter tasting ones.
It's got to have the guava goddess because that one is so refreshing.
It's so refreshing.
It's like your mouth. I took a tour of the factory where they combined guava and refreshment into one. What am I looking for?
Like, the thing is, Kuchisu, they could get sued in a bad way.
Right.
I mean, it might have had more.
It seems like
I don't know.
it seems as alcoholic as say a beer, you know.
Yeah,
That's how it tasted.
it did.
But you know, I don't worry about accidentally consuming some little bit of alcohol. And like I said, once I became fairly convinced it was alcoholic, I stopped drinking it. I just have to not purposely drink alcohol. It's not like any single drop of alcohol passes my lips and I go insane and become full blast drunk again. No. It's a matter of choice making. As long as I don't choose to drink alcohol, I'm fine.
Hi, Trouble Bubble. You want to come inside?
So that was a weird day, weird occasion. Disconcerting for sure, but not the source of any, Wagon fall off a bean. Rachel will read your chats while I go get a light.
I mean, it probably is non-alcoholic, but labels can sometimes get away with legal percentages. Yeah. That's what I was thinking. I was like, it probably is more alcoholic than the Synergy ones that we get from the grocery store. So, it's unfortunate. It didn't really taste that good either. I much prefer the passion guava, the guava goddess. Guava goddess.
Less than 0.5 is fine, but that tasted more than
Yeah,
that.
I think it did too.
And I can't really say for sure it may very well have been psychosomatic, but it seemed like I could feel it a little bit after we were walking out of the place. But probably psychosomatic, that I would guess. Hard to say.
It is hard to say. These non-alcoholics are great though.
Yeah, they are. It has all the flavor, all the refreshment of beer. None of the problems.
None of the problems.
There are times when there's no beverage like beer.
Yeah.
Times when you just, there's soda times, there's tea times, various coffee times, etc. But there are definitely times when the absolute right beverage is beer.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
And non-alcoholic beer is so impressively just like beer. It's crazy, you know?
Yeah. We got what is that fluid called for the lamps?
Lamp oil.
Yeah, we got lamp oil for the lamps that we have around the house.
Mm-hmm. If we wanted to, I don't know, have a spooky Halloween and turn off all the lights and light those lamps, you know?
Feel like we live in the 1800s.
Mm-hmm. We could become so miserly that in order to save on electricity, we only use those.
We could. Wow, everything would be so dark.
Yeah. We still watch the big screen TV though. We just wouldn't turn on the lights.
Candles. Jeremiah Fix says candles, like we can use candles to light the way.
I envision Rachel fumbling around in the dark in the kitchen. Can I please turn on the light?
Oh my gosh.
Rachel, just get in the spirit of it. It's the olden days, okay? Here's a candle as per Jeremiah Fix's suggestion.
I would have been like, okay. But it has to have, hopefully, like one of those, you know, those trays that they used in the 1800s.
Sure. You got the long sleeping cap. Long sleeping cap, and then the candle holder with a little bowl at the bottom.
Yeah, yeah. Oh my God, we're really.
And the glasses at the end of your nose, peering at something.
Do we still have the refrigerator?
Yes, we do sell the
Okay.
refrigerator. Yeah.
All right.
We're just we save money in the thing that costs the least money of all, which is the lights. And we blink,
Oh, we live with AC too.
Remember, AC is white.
Wow.
We're just gonna
This is
save
a real
money.
updated 1800s
Just gonna
house.
save money with the lighting.
I like that. Saving money with the lights.
This like experiment lasts like 2.5 days before we're both like, fuck that!
Yeah, seriously. I know I would bump into something.
That's a terrible idea. Obviously. But, I like the idea. What I didn't like was when we did have a situation where we could have used those lamps. The ones on the wall over here are all empty. They didn't have any oil in them. And we didn't have any oil here.
Yeah.
And I've been saying, we should get some of that oil. Well, when we walked down that one aisle, the hardware store is right there. Might as well get it while we're there,
Yeah.
Because they were out of whale oil.
You know what is gonna be nice? We can have those candles, those those lamps lit for Christmas.
That's true. We can. Don't we also light these little candle lights for Christmas too?
Yeah, we can.
We could plug those in just to have a cool decoration or whatever, really, anytime.
That's true.
But they work best when, like, the inside of the house is otherwise dark.
Oh, you've tested it?
No, I'm just imagining, like, let's say we were to leave the house when it starts getting darker earlier, and we come back after dark. If we had set it up so that those are the only lights on, those little candle lights right there, then it would look pretty cool driving up, probably.
It would.
I'm not normally into super SFJ stuff like that, but that's pretty classy and minimalist, actually.
It is, and it makes me think of Christmas too.
Mm-hmm.
I'm all about anything that makes me think of Christmas.
For those who aren't aware, Christmas is a holiday in December. It has presents. It's got Santa Claus. It's about Jesus, his birthday and stuff. That one. That's the holiday we're talking about.
Yeah.
Children all around the world wait at the base of their chimneys for a jolly fat man to come down with gifts in a big red bag. There was one year in the 70s when Santa tried to get away with giving metaphorical gifts. He'd go in the chimney and he'd give the one boy, I'm giving you courage. And he'd give like the girl, like, and I'm giving you hope. And then he'd go away and the boy would just be more scared and the girl more hopeless. So it backfired.
So
He took a lot of heat that year.
I bet. Did he repeat some of those?
Oh yeah, a lot of repetition. And there's a big outcry from the parents of all the children who got chastity.
Oh my gosh.
Like, how long is this going to last for? My kid's actually 12 years old already. And he mentioned that you said it was going to last 11 years.
Oh my god. Wait, Santa Claus had like a gift. He had.
Yeah.
What was he giving out again?
Well, in that case, it was chastity. Unlike some of the other ones, chastity was a binding gift.
Oh my gosh.
It forced them to, people who got it. And he made some mistakes. He accidentally gave it to the wife of a married couple. And,
So she had to go back.
well, there was a lawsuit, and eventually he came and retracted the chastity from her and apologized, and he had to pay in toy trains, paid out over 20 years. At least 6 individual components of a train set each year for 20 years.
That's a very long train.
Yeah, well, I mean, it was, the jurors were outraged. The wife and the husband both were desperately horny. And I don't even think they made it back home after the verdict was rendered.
Oh man.
Yeah. So anyway, that was that dark Christmas, 1976. Christmas 76 was one of the worst ones ever.
What did you get?
Well, I couldn't hear exactly what Santa said. Okay. It was either fear
Oh my god.
or a spear. Now, if you gave me a metaphorical spear, I spent a lot of time thinking about it.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
I were trying to figure out, like, is fear the equivalent of coal in my stomach?
Right,
'Cause
right.
I had been pretty bad that year.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think he must have said fear, but he kind of had a lisp. I think he had been drinking some eggnog.
Do people leave it out for him?
There. There, guys. There. That's what he sounded like.
Were you in the last or like?
Oh, where do the Paris liquor come from? Right there, Santa. Did you say I get a spear? No, fair. Stupid God. No, it wasn't my. It was a little traumatic, but you know, he ate the cookies. He took a bottle of cognac with him.
Wow, that's what goes in eggnog.
Well, he skipped the eggnog part. He just at that point he just went and grabbed a bottle of cognac and he was Kanye Westing it. You know.
Who's Kanye Westing it?
Yeah. That's what Kanye West did at that one awards show where he got up on stage.
Oh yeah.
He had like a bottle of Courvoisier that he
No
was just
fucking way. I didn't
carrying
know
around
that.
drinking with him. Yeah.
Oh my god, Kanye West. Oh.
Might have been Hennessy. I don't know. It was either Courvoisier or Hennessy. And you know, that just goes to show you that's not how you're supposed to drink cognac.
Yeah.
You're supposed to have a fancy snifter glass and sniff it and take a little sip. You're not supposed to carry a bottle of it around with you and just slug it. Oh, Kanye.
Oh, Kanye.
You're fun. I don't think Beyonce did deserve it that year. I think Taylor Swift deserved it.
Me too.
I mean, Beyonce may have had all the single ladies, but
We don't have it on any of our tracks.
right, we're more likely to listen to a Taylor Swift song than we are to listen to a Beyonce
Oh,
song.
that song is so iconic. The Taylor Swift song from that period of time when it came out, it was such a big hit.
We were young, we were made of meow meow, the meow meow meow, and the meow 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 meow. Then we touched with our meow meow meows. She's a pretty good songwriter, that Sailor Swift.
Yeah, Sailor Swift is a pretty good songwriter.
I like her song. I knew you were trouble when you walked in. Shame on me. I meow 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 meow.
She doesn't like that song. Oh, trouble, trouble, trouble.
Yeah. Na-na-na-na. 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 Na-na. And then she gets back in the chorus, something like that.
I don't remember.
It's the turnaround.
Oh.
I didn't quite remember it either, but I got the first part of it right. You want to come outside, Trouble? Well, come on.
Here's his name.
Come on in.
Meow.
Hey, come on out. Or you don't want.
Oh, he wants us to
He
go
wants
in.
us to go in.
No trouble.
Hi, Cruz.
Hi, crows. Did you get to tell them about the bat in the garage?
No, I don't think I did. I went into the garage the other night to have like a last cigarette before bed, and like went in there and turned the light on, and like the door closed behind me, or I had it open a little bit still. And this bat was in the garage. It kept flying towards the garage door, then towards me, then towards the garage door. And at first I thought it was a huge insect, and I was like, ah! And I realized, oh wait, it's a bat. Equally, ah! And so then I closed the door because I didn't want the bat to go in the house. And then I realized, now I'm stuck. What am I gonna do? And so I just waited for the bat to go back that way, open the door, turn off the light, and close the door again. I figured I didn't need to go in there for a cigarette that badly. I could go up front or something. And then the next morning, the bat was gone. He had made his way out the side door, which was open, but I don't think he could find his way out that easily because there's one way out in the whole place, and he shouldn't have come in the first place.
He shouldn't have come in the first place. That's the truth.
Yeah. We already have plenty of things in our house that shouldn't be in the house, like lizards. I had to get a lizard yesterday, and scorpions.
Oh my god.
I found another scorpion on the floor. I don't know how it got in, where it came from, why it came in. I've never seen a live scorpion inside the house, but we've seen 2 dead ones. This one still had its stinger attached and it had a little venom sac. You can see the venom sac right below the stinger. So, you know, don't step on scorpions. It's good advice.
Jeremiah Fix asks, why are my fingies so stumbly?
Why are your fingies so stumbly? Well, are your fingers drunk? Do your fingers have mini uncaused stumble syndrome? That could explain it.
Dr. or Dr. Grande in psychology things. You really know your stuff.
Yeah. I could call myself Dr. Uber Grande. I'd be even bigger than Dr. Grande.
Wow, that is. How many years would I realize I couldn't?
I could call myself Dr. Gigante. Dr. Gigante is a good name. It means gigantic doctor. Are the tips of your fingers tipsy? Have they come into contact with the gypsy? Do gypsies make fingers tipsy? Gypsies once tried to rob me in Russia. But fortunately I had one of those things where you wear your shit under your clothes so that people can't steal it. The gypsies sent this pack of gypsy children who all started reaching in all of my pockets trying to steal stuff from me. Until I was like, hey, what's going on? Hey, stop! I fucking yelled finally and they scattered away. That's the time a pack of gypsy children tried to rob me.
Oh my gosh!
True story.
Wow, really?
That's a true story.
Wow.
It was in the Moscow subway.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, there's like this gypsy woman, and she had with her like this pack of gypsy children. And the reason I say gypsy is because that's what Will told me they were. Is gypsies. I don't know if that's a real term, or that's what that is, but that's what he said they were. And when I got off the train, I guess I was speaking. I was either speaking English or looking like a tourist or something, because they got all these children all of a sudden surrounded me and started reaching into all my pockets.
Oh my gosh. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to laugh at that.
No, that's fine. They didn't get anything because I happened to be. I had this thing that you strap on underneath your clothes for all of your stuff that you put in your purse or whatever. So I didn't have anything in my pockets. I just had everything in that like waistband under your pants wallet belt thing that I had on.
Pretty.
Yeah, surprisingly. I guess I had been warned that, Moscow wasn't necessarily the safest place. So, but it was fine.
Wow, that is like a moment. Ah.
Yeah, like what the fuck's going on? You know? I mean, it was Moscow not that long after Glasnost, and the beginning of the what would come to be the Putin kleptocracy. There were vast differences in wealth and stuff and status, and a lot of new money in Moscow. People doing ridiculous things at the time, like showing off how rich they were by. There's this club called the Club of the Rose, where at the end of the night they'd auction off a single rose, and men would bid ridiculous amounts of money to win it to prove how rich they were and show off to their lady or whatever. That's not a good use of money. But I've got some good news. I found this black circle.
That is good news.
And so, if I need a black circle at some point, this is the censored version of Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. It was deemed by the FCC, it was deemed a nipple, Rudolph's red nose. So they have to put this over it now, or else it's pornography. Good for the people getting that money. It's good for the anti-tool user who had that stupid idea as a means of robbing people blind, basically. Yeah, it's good for him. But I think it would probably have been better served to spend that on something else. What do I know? I'm not them. I don't know how to spend their money. I know that I didn't choose to participate in that dumb activity. But it was cool. I'm glad I got to go to Russia. I'm glad I got to see Moscow back in the day. Glad I got to see St. Petersburg. I'm glad I went when it did. It was snowing when I landed. It was the right time of year, It was like late November when I landed. And it was so cool, It was so trippy to see Red Square, which I'd seen in movies, I'd seen in TV shows, I'd seen in photographs and stuff, and it had spent all of my time in high school and stuff. It was still the Soviet Union. It right like I think 89 or 90 is when the Berlin Wall fell, etc. So, and I didn't go there. I went there like in 95 or 96 or something. So it's like I wasn't there that long after it had been the Soviet Union.
Wow.
So it was kind of a bit of a Wild West, you know. Um, and and then still it had some aspects of being like the Soviet Union. For example, the subway was insanely cheap. You could get anywhere on it. And there weren't any cabs, but you could get anybody to be your cab, pretty much, if you stood out on a corner and held out a $20 bill US. They wanted crisp new bills, nothing wrinkled. And then somebody would just pull over and say, "Where do you want to go?" You had to have somebody who speaks Russian with you. I was with Will, he spoke Russian. And then they'd take you a reasonable distance wherever for $20.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, that was interesting. I'm glad I did that with some portion of my 20s. I decided to, when I was working as a substitute teacher and still living at home, and my bank account was just growing monies. I wasn't really, as always, I'm not a huge spender. Um, so I just impulsively said, "Hey, well, can I come visit you in Russia and stay with you for a couple of weeks?" And I'd have to pay for a hotel, you know.
That's nice.
It was cool.
It sounds like a fun trip.
Will had to go to work most of the days, you know, so I uh, I explored all around Moscow by myself. Took all kinds of pictures, which I got developed when I got home because it wasn't like we had camera phones, you know. I visited the Cosmonaut Museum. I went all over the place. There was this one restaurant that I liked that served like American style breakfast. It was kind of like an expat restaurant. I'd usually go there and eat breakfast. Um,
That's a nice SI thing to have while away.
yeah,
Especially breakfast.
yeah. It was kind of gorgeous in the winter, you know, with everything covered in snow. Even though it's this huge, blocky, communist nightmare of like uniform building after uniform building. There are other parts where it's not like the center of town, which they're just like fields and churches and stuff, and it's all covered in snow everywhere. It's all flat too. There's no mountains anywhere. It's just flat snow everywhere.
That sounds pretty.
Yeah, it was cool. And of course, I bought while I was there what is called a rabbit hat. Rabbit hat, they say at the marketplace, which they see speak English. It's one of those hats that go like this, but it's made out of rabbit fur. Yeah, I got one of those. You needed something like that walking around in Russia. It's cold. I enjoyed the vacation that Rachel and I took to see Hambone. I was reminded of that trip with Hambone's arrival the other day, yesterday, whenever.
That was fun.
We also had a really good time, I think, on our Hawaii trip.
Oh my gosh, so much fun.
That was a nice bit of SI to have. It's kind of like a last good memory of my dad.
Mhm.
After that, things get kind of just yay. Because that was right before COVID hit.
Yeah.
So, anybody have any questions or topics they'd like to hear discussed? Or topics they definitely don't want to hear discussed? Like, if you know you don't want to hear me talk about birds, say it now, because otherwise I might surprise you
Mhm.
and begin a line of conversation about birds. Uh, you know what I meant to look for at the hardware store? This is what I was trying to remember, but I couldn't remember until just now. Was see they had binoculars or maybe a telescope.
That would come in handy.
But it's probably better to just order it online. I kind of want to order some kind of a telescope that has a function in it where you can film what it shows on into your eye, you know?
Mm.
Because if I do see some UFO or something, I want to be able to film it.
It's Starlink. Skylink.
Starlink.
Starlink, yeah. We can record when that goes over us too.
Right, if we got in the telescope. I mean, if we had a telescope, I'd probably imagine myself just generally searching the sky sometimes during the day even to see if there's anything interesting in the sky. It's a lot harder to see weird things in the sky during the day. Like I never see drones in the sky during the day, but I suspect they must be there as well during the day. It's just they don't have lights on, so it's hard to pick them out. I was seriously considering. I was seriously thinking about hiding the receiver when the switch broke 'cause it's old. They're saying things that I can hardly believe. They really think we're getting out of control. Radio, it's a sad salvation. Radio, it's sweeping across the nation.
Nice rock out.
Thanks. But that wasn't what I was going to say. What I was going to say was, I don't know. I don't remember. But I bet there's interesting things in the sky. If we were to spend more time looking into the sky for interesting things.
Yeah, like from where we are in the south, there's Saturn and Jupiter.
Right, but I'm looking for things more in the variety of UFOs,
Yeah, but yeah.
sky Sasquatches, portals to other dimensions, shadow people, skinwalkers, pterodactyls. What do I think of White Castle? I've had it on a couple occasions. It seems fine, but we don't get those microwavable White Castle burgers. Might not be a bad thing to get. Might be a quick and easy meal.
If it's quick and easy, I'm down. But we are on a very strict one step.
Yeah, we have a strict diet. We believe it's really important to manage what we eat in terms of its convenience.
Mm-hmm.
So, for example, we were exploring the Amy's frozen dinners at the supermarket. We got a couple of the Mexican casseroles, and I said, "Well, let's look and see. Let me look at this enchiladas here. Maybe it's got one step." No, it had two steps. So I put it right back. I don't want anything to do with that. We did get what were 12 budget sweet and sour chickens. There were 4 steps to you're 1 step and 4 minutes away from a trip to the exotic Orient. 1 step, 4 minutes. You just put the whole box in, 4 minutes, boom. Once you get to 2 of them at once, 8 minutes, boom. Sweet and sour chickens. And they're like $1.99 each. Now, what's more expensive than the budget sweet and sour chickens, but also 1 step? Well, it's your Michelangelo's chicken parmesan.
Yeah, so Jeremiah Fix, you should be taking notes.
Yeah, take notes. Michelangelo's chicken parmesan. It's 1 step.
You don't even have to cut the lid.
You don't have to do anything. You put the whole box in, put it in for 7.5 minutes. Bada bing, bada boom. You're eating with the mafiosas in New York and New Jersey. Classic Italian fare. We additionally got the Mexican casseroles. 1 step, 5 minutes. And it does have to cut a slit into the plastic on that one, or else the bottom of the thing kind of blows out.
Oh.
It says you got to cut a slit in the plastic. So, but still, you don't have to. It's still, once you put it into the microwave, it's 5 minutes. That's it. It is a good idea to cut a slit in the plastic on top of that one. So,
I cut a slit in the plastic for the sweet and sour chicken because it does say to do that.
oh,
I
never
that's
do
just
that. But the thing is, what I don't like about the Mexican casseroles is the way the bottom gets all gross and soaked through.
Me too.
It maximally does that if you don't cut a slit in the top. Even so, you have to put it on a paper plate, or else you get goo all over everything. So, those aren't ideal, but the thing is, taking it out of the box has to happen either before or after you put it into the microwave. So, taking it out of the box before the microwave doesn't count as an extra step. And the little bit of time it takes to slit a teeny slit in the top of the plastic, I'm okay with that. It still qualifies as convenient enough.
Mm-hmm.
The microwave burritos, 1:20 each. You don't gotta fuck around with halfway, flip them over, or anything like that. Excellent products. Those ones we currently have are delicious, those burritos.
Yeah, they are.
Really good. I also have, we also have, I think Rich has forgotten about them, granola bars up there where the extra.
I did forget about. I thought they were all gone.
No, they're all open. One box is partially full and one box that hasn't even been opened yet.
Oh.
So those are good things to eat when you're hungry, you want a quick snack. We got yogurts, good things to eat if you're hungry, you want a quick snack. We got snack size cheese snacks.
I'm just gonna get them.
Also a very good thing to eat when you just want to eat something you don't want to cook anything.
Oh, what a good boy.
We do have cookable food, which is to say I've got frozen hamburger patties, frozen hamburger buns, sliced cheese. We got some lettuce so we can make some salad. But we got it in the bag, like pre-mixed salad in the bag, right? We're not gonna cut up lettuce and mix our own lettuce mixture together. That's just crazy talk. Oh, let's mix our own mixture of heirloom lettuces together. No. Somebody else can do that job. We got 2 bags of these triangles, they're called. even though they're not very triangular. And we already have like salsa, too much salsa, like there were 2 times in a row that I thought we were out of salsa, so I bought a salsa, and then we weren't even out of it in the first place. So, I think you might as well go through some salsa, you know. Burn through our excess reserves of salsa.
You're making me in the bottle. I want to rub you the right way.
Oh, thanks, Jeremy.
You're welcome.
I have a lot in common with Christina Aguilera.
Oh, do you?
Yeah. Both of our names mean wanton destruction in Spanish.
Wanton destruction.
Mm-hmm. But we were both poorly named. And both of us really like to sing very technically complicated, extremely high-pitched soprano melodies.
I didn't take you for one to like that kind of music.
Yeah, well, we're both kind of an afterthought. Like Christina Aguilera is kind of like Britney Spears' afterthought.
Yeah.
I'm an afterthought to Bill Walton. I'm just like Bill Walton, except not as good at basketball. What kind of salsa, asks Ruben. I don't know, what brand is this? Mission?
Tostitos.
It's good. Very salty. I like salty salsa.
Yeah.
Rachel's informed me the secret ingredient in guacamole is salt. If you're wondering why your guac's not flying out of the bowl, get a root. Where is your salsa made? New York City? Somebody get a rope. I like paste picante sauce, which is made in San Antonio, Texas. The same San Antonio, Texas that Acacia once defended the Alamo in.
Oh wow, I went to the Alamo in San Antonio before.
You went there, I drove by it.
Wow.
Did you, was it the most thrilling experience of your travel life?
No. It was very small inside. I was very surprised by that.
Kind of makes you wonder why the Mexicans wanted it so bad, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, what was that? I see kind of where they were like, "Good night, John Boy." That's the Waltons.
I don't remember that.
But that had nothing to do with Bill Walton. That's super old school. That was in like early 70s, that show. It wasn't a show anybody would want to watch. Just like Facts of Life. I wanted to like Facts of Life. It was a sitcom, supposedly. It was about young people in school, and I was in school too. Sure, it was a girl show. All the main characters were girls. But still, it hit my criteria for things that I wanted to watch and enjoy. The problem the Facts of Life had was that it was terrible. And it did that. It went all in on that horrible 80s thing where they always had special episodes to teach you an important lesson with big serious parts. Boom.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah. And the absolute worst of them about that though was that one with Valerie Bertinelli in it. It had that guy with the mustache playing a handyman, and the single mom and the daughter and the handyman.
I don't remember.
What was it called? What was that show called, everybody? Somebody tell me the name of that horrible, horrible show. It purported to be Why Eric Blames Acacia for the Alamo. For those who need to know, and everybody does, you should be aware of the shocking truth that I revealed yesterday regarding Acacia and the Alamo. So
Yeah, what was that show?
What was that show?
Valerie Bertinelli.
Was it called One Day at a Time?
I've never heard of that show.
Let me see. It's the worst show. One Day at a Time. Sitcom. Yeah. This is it. One day at a time. So there's a mom. She's got these two daughters. I forgot there were two daughters in it. I just remembered this one. There's two daughters. And this handyman guy. Why is it so terrible? Let me simply Google the question. What makes One Day at a Time so terrible? Let's see. 10 serious issues one day at a time tackled. This goes to show you just how terrible One Day at a Time was. They tackle 10 serious issues. Now, this is the new show. Alright. Let me put down Valerie Bertinelli. So we know we get that right show. I need to put bad. B-A-D. One Day at a Time, season one has a 65% tomato meter, but
90% of audience, though. That's
It's so terrible. What are these positive? The prime time. The prime time one day at a time is a dreary exercise in deja vu, entirely lacking any of the ingredients we've come to expect of lyric creations. That's a good review of it. Correct. One Day at a Time is neither relevant nor particularly humorous. Its pace is disconcertingly frenetic, and its trendy, with it quality is ultimately a fraud. That's the correct review on this horrible show. It was like curve surfing woke awfulness.
oh god.
So if you've not watched One Day at a Time, don't. If you've not watched Facts of Life, don't. Facts of Life had some funny episodes like early on, but then it just got turned into One Day at a Time. Terrible.
Oh no.
Yeah. I want to see very special episodes. Episodes. Very special episodes that defined my childhood. 10 best sitcom very special episodes. I want older ones than that, though. Alright, Ranker. The most memorable, very special episodes of classic sitcoms. Yeah, that. Yeah, that. The Bicycle Man, Different Strokes. Different Strokes got in more than one solidly preachy episode during its run. Perhaps the most skin-crawlingly memorable, however, was this two-parter from season 5 about child molestation. After befriending Mr. Horton, the jolly owner of a local bike shop, Arnold and his friend Dudley drop by the man's apartment after school one afternoon, where he promptly attempts to get them drunk, talk them out of their clothes. Oh my god.
Oh my god, it's
What
right.
what a horrible episode.
That is horrible.
Number 2, give your Uncle Arthur a kiss. Family ties.
Oh, that's
Uh-oh.
right.
In this season 1 episode of Family Ties, sophisticated 15-year-old Mallory finds herself dealing with a little more sophistication than she can handle when her father's co-worker and family friend, Uncle Arthur, makes a pass at her. Horrified and ashamed, Mallory keeps the incident secret, hoping to just move on and forget it ever happened. After Arthur moves in for a second attempt, Mallory breaks down and tearfully confesses to her parents, who confront Arthur, sternly telling him to keep away from their underage daughter and to get some professional help, while Arthur whines pathetically about feeling crazy since his divorce. For some reason, they don't, call the police or anything. Edith's 50th birthday, All in the Family. And Edith's 50th birthday, Edith is at home while her family is planning a birthday party for her. A stranger knocks at the door, claims to be a police detective. She lets him in. He viciously attacks her and threatens to rape her. Luckily, the birthday cake she had in the oven catches on fire and smoke billows up from the kitchen. She throws the cake at him and he fled. That's a sitcom episode?
Right?
Jesse's song, Saved by the Bell. In this classic installment of Saved by the Bell, Jesse Spano Bayside High's resident Goody Two-Shoes suffers a full-blown speed freak meltdown after becoming addicted to pep pills. The scene in question is so legendary that even people who never watched Saved by the Bell are at least familiar with it, especially since the X-rated So Bad It's Good cult fave showgirl starring Berkeley as an ambitious Vegas dancer was released a few years later. The episode was supposed to center around Jesse dealing with an addiction to speed, but NBC's censors made the show soften it to store-bought caffeine pills, which lowers the stakes just a tad. Wow. Steroids to heaven, dinosaurs. Insecure about his masculinity and eager to impress his high school crush, Caroline, Robbie resolves to increase his appeal by bulking up. When standard methods fail, however, he succumbs to temptation and begins secretly consuming bizarre fuzzy creatures called thornoids, which are rumored to increase muscle mass. Sure enough, he gets bigger, but so does his ego. After mouthing off to his parents, tearing the bathroom sink out of the wall, and thoroughly terrifying his date, Robbie learns a valuable lesson and decides to clean up his act. Wow. The Counselor on Mr. Belvedere. This creepy episode involves 10-year-old Wesley and a touchy-feely summer camp counselor.
Oh no!
Oh, goodness. Just Say No, Punky Brewster. Fully steeped in the hysteria of Nancy Reagan's Just Say No campaign, this season 2 episode chronicles Punky and Jerry's attempts to get in good with a group of seemingly glamorous girls who call themselves the Chicklets. The stage is set for a good old-fashioned lesson about the value of true friendship and the fleetingness of popularity until the Chicklets' haughty ringleader suddenly threatens to break out her secret stash of uppers, downers, grass goofballs, and nose candy. Punky is scandalized, but initially reluctant to abandon her only chance of becoming one of the cool kids. After a heart-to-heart with her science teacher, however, she reevaluates her position and forms a posse of chanting anti-drug crusaders who march through the streets, waving signs and sporting matching Just Say No t-shirts. Much more fun than a treehouse slumber party. Wow. There's nothing like an extremely strange plot line to remind kids that learning CPR is important. In Charlie Lifesaver, Henry's refrigerator is on the front, prompted him to buy a new one. He sets it out in the backyard to pick up, but when inclement weather derails his plans, leaves it there outside. Meanwhile, Punky and her friends are playing hide and seek when Cherry decides the fridge is a perfect hiding place. It's also a place with little oxygen. And little Sherry passes out. Henry finds her, but she's unconscious. Serendipitously, the group learned CPR at school the day before, and Punky helps revive her friend. Oh. Blossom. Oh, what does it have?
Yo.
Whoa,
Whoa.
whoa. Blossom launched the career of Whoa. Blossom covered everything from alcoholism to bulimia and racism. But one stood out. Oh, baby. In this one, Tommy's wife Shelley goes into labor with their baby. Before he can reach her, Tony, an ambulance driver, is held up at gunpoint. The responsibility to deliver Shelley's baby falls on the shoulders of Blossom. The baby is born healthy and everyone is happy. But the plot begs a few questions. Is there only one ambulance driver in town? Does Tony know how to deliver a baby himself? And what idiot who needs medical help would try and kill the person giving it to him? Uh-oh, JJ's in trouble. Good times. This is another terrible, terrible show. Good times. There's always having serious episodes. This episode is about an STD scare. JJ gets it on with a cute fellow student from his high school who subsequently informs him that she is tested positive for an STD, or VD, as it was called back in the day. JJ's own test results ultimately come back negative, and the whole storyline turns into an awkward platform for the Evans family to tell the audience about the availability and necessity for sexually active teens to get tested themselves. How horrible.
Yeah, really.
Say Uncle Family Ties. We don't know what it is with family ties and creepy uncles, but as with Give Your Uncle Arthur a Kiss, this episode involves an uncle, this time a literal one, who doesn't know how to behave and causes strife and heartache as a result. A young Tom Hanks guest stars as Uncle Ned, who shows up in town for a job interview, as well as a friendly weekend visit with the rest of the Keaton family. Ned's happy-go-lucky demeanor seems charming at first until it's gradually revealed that he's suffering from a crippling and hilarious alcohol problem. I remember this episode. After Ned screws up basically everything, including a job interview, he's slowly brought back down to earth and is convinced by Alex to kick the booze and start attending AA meetings. I remember this episode because this is the funniest part. He wants to drink they're out of beer in the house, so he's trying to drink their vanilla extra. The life of the party and family matters. This one is aired in season 2. After unwittingly imbibing a glass of spiked punch at a house party, Urkel comically embarrasses himself as usual for a few beats before stumbling drunkenly off the edge of a rooftop and nearly ending himself. Luckily, Urkel's life is saved. The offending alcohol suppliers are arrested, and everyone else gets a sober lecture about the evils of underage drinking. Wonderful. Full House, they have a special episode? Round-faced DJ was still a few seasons away from being actually discernibly pudgy, but that didn't stop her from falling prey to an eating disorder in this season 2 episode. After DJ's best friend Kimmy announced she's hosting a pool party for her birthday, DJ becomes obsessed with losing enough weight to look flawless in a bikini, starving herself for days on end, and painfully exhausting herself at the gym. DJ finally collapses in front of her dad and little sisters, prompting a heart-to-heart from her father about the meaning of beauty and self-respect. That's how easy it is to solve an eating disorder. You just need to explain to her, no, you need to feel good about yourself.
That's such a good lesson.
In this episode of Home Improvement, they catch one of their sons smoking weed, and he learns a valuable lesson. Also, in What's Happening, another terrible show, our young heroes are manipulated into smoking weed, I think. This is about bootlegging concerts. This is a episode that warns that bootleggers will be going to jail for a very long time. Small wonder, one of the worst television shows in history. If you've not seen it, you're missing out.
You introduced me to this show.
And chewing tobacco is the problem in this particular episode. And the boys quickly learn that all forms of tobacco are icky and gross and not worth messing around with. And that's pretty important to remember. I always hated all the special episodes because I wanted to watch a sitcom that was funny, not some stupid ass shit. You know?
Yeah.
Not some stupid serious thing. Okay. Okay. So, I suppose then, at this point, I could probably end the stream, potentially watch some television. Those things seem plausible. I could even maybe do a little vacuuming with the shop vac if I felt like it. I got it out of the box.
Oh, sweet.
What is this mysterious role of experience in the two-tards? You know, it's that stuff you're soaking in. The point is, everybody has some kind of relationship with their own experience. The difference between intuition, NI knowing conscious, and SI knowing conscious is the experience informs your intuition about what's happening right now in ways that you can't really articulate if you're intuiting in NI. It doesn't work that way if you're using SI. Anyway, all right, enough of this. Thank you for being here. Don't forget to eat plenty of cheese. If you do, you can eat twice as much next time.